Marie Trapani for Simon Says Stamp, and thanks for joining me today for the reveal of our STAMPtember 2024 collaboration set with the Greeting Farm. I'm going to be creating this card with you today, but let's talk about this stamp and die set first. Now, the stamp and die set is available as a stamp and die set bundle, or you can purchase the stamp set on its own. As with all of our STAMPtember collaboration sets, these are limited editions, so once they sell out, they're gone. So if you want to grab this set, you want to do it while you can. It is so cute. The images in this set are just adorable. Really cute characters in their Halloween costumes, and some additional fun images like that cute spider and some candy, a couple of sentiments, and you have coordinating dies for all of these pieces. So the coordinating dies have everything you need to cut out all the images plus the sentiments in this stamp set. So while we work on creating a card with it, I'm going to use quite a few of the characters here. I picked out 4 because I want to create a card that has a series of windows in it that have the little characters peeking out from it. I thought that would be fun. I'm going to stamp my images with Intense Black ink from Simon Says Stamp. And this is a Copic safe ink. It's also great for using with other mediums such as watercolors or pencils. But I'm going to be coloring with Copic markers today, so that's why I chose this ink. And I'm just going to stamp onto some Hammermill white cardstock, which is one of my favorite papers for coloring with Copics. I also really like using our Simon Says Stamp 120-pound white cardstock too. So I'm going to color the images with some bright, happy colors that I picked out that are inspired by Halloween. I love adding pink to my Halloween coloring, and so that's why I definitely incorporated that color throughout all of the images. I have purple and green, and I also picked out this more peachy orange. I liked this color a lot. I didn't want something that was like a true bright orange, and I wanted something a little bit more toned, so I really like how that looked. Now, if you're curious about any of the Copic markers that I used today, I do have them linked below in the supply list for you to check out. So definitely reference that there for all of the Copic colors that I used. For most of the images, I did use 2 to 3 shades. I like trying to keep my coloring as simple as possible, mostly because that makes it stress-free for me, so I can enjoy the coloring process and not have to worry about like being really particular about my shading. I'm trying to also keep the marker count down. Because there are 4 images here, there's a lot of things to color. So I'm trying to not have too many markers on my desk that I'm trying to work with. So for something like the brown shades that I wanted to incorporate into the hair and also the little werewolf costume that is on that little boy, I wanted to use the same brown. So I picked out E40 markers, so E40 through 49. I used those exact same markers across all of the areas that are brown. The only thing I did different is that for something like the werewolf here, I want him to be lighter than the hair on the girl to the left. So I just used the lighter end of that spectrum instead of adding the darker colors. So what that does is it allows me to get the range of tones that I'm looking for, some lighter and darker tones, but I didn't have to have a ton of markers. So it's really, really helpful. All right, so we've colored our images. We're ready to start die cutting. I'm going to use the coordinating dies and some Simon Says Stamp very, very low tack tape to hold them down as I cut them. Once I have all the images cut, I'm working on the panel that is going to have the window. For this, I'm going to use our Simon Says Stamp 5 circles die set. And I have mine connected still because I just a lot of times will just cut the circles and then I don't need to actually break them apart. However, for this, I want to have 4 circles combined together to form a window. And I actually liked the staggered look of this because that's going to give me a space at the bottom left that I can put my sentiment. But it gives me these 4 little windows that all of my characters can peek out of. So I'm going to cut this from some 120-pound white cardstock from our Simon Says Stamp collection. And then that's going to give me this really nice frame that looks so cool. I love the movement of this. And then we're going to be able to use those negative circle pieces, save those. Those are going to be the backgrounds behind our characters. So we have all 4 of the little circles that are going to then end up getting glued down onto our card and be behind each of these windows. So as this goes along, this will make a lot more sense. You can already see I've kind of planned out who's going to be where on the windows over on the left. And for the backgrounds, I'm going to go ahead and start pulling those together and working on coloring them. To color my little circle backgrounds, I'm using our Simon Says Stamp Pawsitively saturated inks, and I'm putting 2 colors on each circle. And I am coloring on top of our Simon Says Stamp Craft Tacky mat. This is a really nice tacky surface that's made from the same material as stamps. So it has that grip to it, and so I can just lay my circles into that mat and then be able to ink blend over top and not have to use any tape or hold things down. I find this tool super helpful. So that's what I'm using to hold these in place while I ink blend. And then this mat also cleans up really easily with either some stamp cleaner or a baby wipe. After I colored all of my backgrounds, then I'm going to set those aside and work on embossing the frame panel. I'm using this new Droopy web embossing folder from our Simon Says Stamp collection, and I'm going to go ahead and put my frame panel inside and emboss that to get that great spider web texture. Once I've embossed, now I can work on assembling everything. So I'm going to put foam tape on the back side of my frame, and I'm using some Simon Says Stamp foam tape here to do that. I want to make sure I have all of the large areas covered with tape so that way I don't have any areas that like sag or end up getting bent. So I'm laying that on top of my black card base here that's an A2 size card, and inside of those negative areas I'm gluing down my little circle panels. These are getting glued straight down onto the card, so there will be some depth here from the foam tape lifting up our web panel to then the cardstock circles being glued directly onto the card. Now I had not glued that frame panel yet onto my card because I wanted to attach as many of the characters as I could to this before gluing it down. So that way the foam tape will help hold them in place, and then I'll also put some foam tape behind the characters themselves just to maintain that depth. So after adhering as many as I could, I got 2 down, then I'm going to attach that web panel directly on top of my A2 card, and then we can start working on attaching the rest of the characters. So for this, I'm using foam tape to give a little bit of lift off of that circle background, and then they're also then popping out from behind those cute little circle areas that we've created. For my sentiment, I am using the stamp set, and I am using the sentiment that says "Have a Scary Halloween." This is kind of a funny sentiment because the characters are so cute. They are not scary at all. They're just adorable. So I did emboss that sentiment with white embossing powder onto this dark purple cardstock, and then using the coordinating sentiment die, I'll go ahead and cut this out, and this will allow me to then use a couple pieces of foam tape behind it to attach it onto my card panel. This is going in that bottom left corner. Remember I was talking about earlier how I liked how the circles were staggered, and that would make a great spot for the greeting to go. I love it. I also adore the fact that this little werewolf character, he is hanging upside down. I thought that would be fun, and I'm going to enhance that funniness just a little bit here after we add a few sequins. I thought the sequins would add some movement here and also go with the same circle theme that we've got going here. So it really ties the repetition together. Plus it adds a lot of cute sparkle and some color. So this is what I thought would be funny. I added some googly eyes to the little werewolf guy. He's just being so goofy. I thought adding the googly eyes was the perfect way to finish that off and emphasize that silliness. So I just love this. This whole entire set is darling, and it's such a cute Halloween stamp set. And of course there are coordinating dies for you to use to cut these images out. If you like making Halloween cards, I think you are going to really love creating with this STAMPtember 2024 collaboration set with the Greeting Farm. And remember, it is a limited edition set, so it's only available while supplies last. You can find the stamp set exclusively over on our Simon Says Stamp store, along with all of the other STAMPtember collaboration sets throughout the month. So I hope you enjoyed, friends. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and I will be back very soon with more STAMPtember inspiration for you. Until then, have a wonderful day.
I'm Heidi, Simon's mama and founder at simonsaysstamp.com. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to press the thumbs up and subscribe to see more great content.